Hey, good evening, my friends. How are you? Randy, nice to have you along with us. Hello, Craig, Patrick, Gene, who's building my new boat. Yeah, that was a good segment. I liked it as well. I love that music. All right, my friends, welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Live. Yeah, I missed me last week too. Last week at this time, I was sitting down at Pine Knob and it was so hot. So hot. I mean, it was miserably hot. Hello, Ed, Sean, Tommy. You saw the walls today. Did you like the picture? Yes, I did. I snuck it online. Jeff says, Mike, what day is it? It's hump day. Hello, Jim. Just the right framing here. And I think I should have it right there. Actually, it was very, very good. I didn't know anything about the band Garbage. They were pretty good. And Tears for Fears, which is a band my wife has loved forever. Very good. I mean, really good. Really a good show. It was just so hot. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate your nice comments. It was so hot. Hello, Kevin. Nice to have you along with us on this edition of Wednesday Night Live. Fowlerville checking in. Hey, I got an idea. Let me know. I appreciate that, Gene. Just for grins, make a post, make a comment right here about where you are watching from tonight. Fowlerville is here. Let's see who else is here. I know it. Not even a couple of weeks, Dave, till we find out if we get our Michigan bear and elk tags. I'm so excited. Where are you checking in from tonight? St. Charles, Shepherd, Casnovia, Pinconning, Roscommon, Coldwater, Spruce, Grand Ledge, Grand Rapids, Linwood, Carter Maslowski, Harrison, Beale City, Hershey, Pennsylvania, Harrison. I think I got that one already. Where'd you go, John? Essexville, the Sioux. Who was it? The Sioux. Who was in the Sioux? Nathan's the Sioux. Mount Morris, Hancock, cool. Downtown Quantico, Ithaca, Tennessee, Cass City. Very good, very good. All right, my friends, I appreciate that. Port Huron. It's nice to see where we got people in from right. Jason Gaylord, Kenny Slavin from J Sporting Goods, jsportinggoods.com. Virginia. Lisa's watching from Virginia. How cool is that? Leroy, Hesperia. All right, we got that covered. Oh, before we get too far into this, I have a math question for you. I posed it this morning, but I'm not sure I got the right answer. This needs a better brain than I. Kingston, Ontario. Hey, Brian. Okay, my gas tank has 42 gallons of gas in it. The gauge reads 90%. Okay, when the gauge reads 90%, I have 42 gallons of gas. How many gallons of gas do I have when the gauge reads 60%? Okay. So 90% on the gauge is 42 gallons. Tim, I just want to, I think you're right, but I just want to see what else we get here. How many gallons are in that tank when it reads 60%? I think I know the answer. I think Tim is absolutely right, but there were so many different possibilities and options this morning. I think you're right, though, Tim. Tim says, no, I do trust you, Tim. You're my, I don't think it's 25. I think it's closer to 28. But 25.2 does not seem like an arbitrary number. So I think you must have done some math there, Brian. Exactly. That's no, I am not wasn't a math major either. I just don't want to run out of gas tomorrow. I've got a trip tomorrow. I have a charity charter tomorrow. I know my truck tells me too, but okay. 60 is a third of 90. and 14 is a third of 42. So 42 minus 4. Here we go. Here's our engineer friend, Craig Plowman. 60 is a third of 90, and 14 is a third of 42. So 42 minus 14 is 28. I'm going with that one because Tim Benz and Craig Plowman both say it's 28. So ding, 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 ding. I have, there we go, 42. 96. Oh, I don't like that 666 number in there. So I don't think I'm going to run out of gas tomorrow. 28. All right. I'm with you guys. 28 gallons. That's more than enough. I'm not going to burn 28 gallons. I don't know if I will, Gene, or if they'll deliver it over to Linwood Beach. 2/3. Good evening, Cliff. Cliff, how are you? I saw your boat today, Greg. I was out there. It looked very lonely. Craig Plowman, your boat looks lonely. It's calling your name. Oh, by the way, Tony, I was looking at the wind for tomorrow morning, and there's not as much wind as I thought. Yeah, it might be a little bumpy, and it is out of the north, which is not the best direction. If anything, well, I wouldn't mind a northwest because you know where I'm fishing right now, and I can hide right there. I could, but I'm not going to. If I need more than 28 gallons of gas on a skinny water fishing trip, I'm in trouble. But tomorrow's another one of my charity charters. And it'll be fun. Good, Craig. I'm glad to hear that. Where'd they go? Ed says, did I miss what day it is? Ed says, Mike, what day is it? It's hump day. Thank you, Dennis. Dave, good evening. How are you? Anyway, welcome to summer. It is officially summer now. Mother Nature has felt like it's summer for a long time now. This weather roller coaster is kind of crazy, isn't it? 95, 75, 95, 75. I do apologize for not being with you last week. The last time I was with you, we were live at the Brenton USA factory in Lansing, where I picked up my new 350 Legend. Have not shot it yet. Right now, if I have any spare time, it's going to be fishing. As soon as the action slows down in the bay, hey, Kim, how are you? As soon as the action slows down in the bay, look at you, you skinny thing. If when the action slows down in the bay, I will get that rifle to the range. In fact, I was talking to Paul Phillips just today, and he's like, we got to get you out there. I will. I'll get out there. But I got some fishing to do first. And right now I'm kind of on a little bit of a roll after getting off to a late start this summer, and I don't want to jinx myself, but getting off to a slow start this summer. My last 3 trips have been pretty good. So as long as the fish are in there, I feel confident right now that I can pick up some of them. Oh, our last trip. Big fish of the year so far, a 27-inch fish. Caught it on a good old-fashioned Hottentot. We call that Hottentot the Captain. I can't tell you why we call it the Captain here in a public forum. Sometime when we meet in person, say, Avery, why do you call that Hottentot the Captain? And I will be happy to explain it to you, but I can't do it right here. A couple of things that got my attention. If you were with me this morning, you heard me talk about this. Just things to keep in mind. Number one, there's a rule on my boat that you can't go wrong with that either, Tim. The 6.5 Grendel. Can't go wrong with it. That is one of the calibers the guys at Brenton recommended to me. Martin, how are you? There is a rule on my boat that you don't reach into a net with a flopping fish. That was pretty cool, wasn't it, Joe? You don't reach in to grab a fish in the net when it has a lure in its mouth. I've seen too many bad things happen, including years ago. My dad got a treble hook in his finger on a salmon, and the fish was still flopping on the bait, drove it into the bone, and he's got a treble hook in his finger rubbing against his bone as the fish is flopping. So there's a rule on my boat. You do not reach into a net with your bare hands. In the excitement of our trip on Tuesday, one of the guys did, and he paid the price for it, and he drove a hook right into his hand. Now, he's a pretty tough old farmer. So what he did was he grabbed it with a pair of pliers and he pulled it out. I could not have done it. I could not have done it, but he's a lot tougher than I am, and he did it. Another thing that got my attention, and I've heard horror stories about this, including, gotcha, John, horror stories including from my buddy Scott Hand about the sun did me well. The sun is doing me well this summer, except right up here. When I was in the Keys this spring, there's Scott right there. Skinny water again, Sunday, 2 fish at 1. Oh, I'm loving that skinny water right now. Yep, John. Yep, John. Yep. Scott's saying the same thing. Another thing to be aware of, and Scott Hand is going to back me up on this. I almost feel like, and this is going too far, but maybe there should be some kind of an informal rule on trolling boats that you need to wear glasses or sunglasses. Now, most of us wear sunglasses when we're out in the water anyway. Well, we had a situation where a little girl was fishing with us, and she had a big pike right at the back of the boat, and the bait came out of the fish's mouth, and it came right up and hit her in the face. And it was a very scary few minutes because she was crying, of course, because she was scared. We didn't know where she got hit. I mean, we knew she got hit in the face. We didn't know if it was in the eye. We didn't know if it was sticking in her face. Fortunately, it hit her in the lip, and it did make a mark. I mean, it hit her hard, and it got tangled up in her hair, and her dad was able to get it out. So no serious damage. But it got me thinking, we've had, and this happens, I think, more with inexperienced fishermen just because of rod positioning on fish at the back of the boat. And nothing against them. It's just that they don't have the experience that some others do. Let me check a text here real quick. I don't know the answer. Anyway, sorry. Hey, Randy. Hello, Lori. Felt fishing hat. Hit him in the head. That makes sense. So anyway, just something to keep in mind. Scott Hand's grandson, Blake, got it right in the mouth a couple of years ago. Or no, right in the eye. It got him in the eyelid. Didn't get his eye, but it got him in the eyelid. And it's like, so just something to keep in mind. Or if you can, and this is where inexperienced anglers, they tend to point their rod right at the fish. So if the bait comes out, Scott says Blake now wears goggles when netting. Excellent. Randy says glasses are a must. Inexperienced anglers tend to have the rod right in front of them. So if it comes out, the bait's going to come right at him. I think more experienced anglers tend to hold the rod off to the side. So if it does come out, it's more likely to swing by you rather than hit you. Just a thought, just something to keep in mind, because I saw it a couple of times on the water the other day. Something else to keep in mind. Randy's got good advice if I can get my cursor over there. X-rays of bass fishermen with bullet weights embedded in them. Good morning. Good evening, Kevin. How are you? Something else to keep in mind. We all love the water. I love the water. Spend as much time as I can this year, this time of year on the water. You've got to respect it, especially big water, especially the Great Lakes. Did you hear about, and Lori Card is the one who was telling me about it, about the MWT, MWC. How's my audio? I feel like I'm not getting it out of both ears. I feel like it's in stereo. Lori Card was telling me at a tournament out of Au Gres last weekend, they lost some boats. You got to take that big water seriously. I mean, it's a lot of fun. Excuse me. I just had a burger for dinner. It's a lot of fun, but when things go south on the water, they go south in a hurry. So you got to be careful. You got to keep your wits about you. And here's my main topic of the night. And by the way, folks, this is Wednesday Night Live. My name is Mike Avery. I appreciate you being along with us, especially on a beautiful. Randy says everybody on his boat wears some type of eye protection. Good. I'm not that far off base, but like I said, most of us, especially when we're on the water, wear sunglasses anyway. I mean, you can see where my sunglasses are, right? My raccoon eyes right now. You can see where my sunglasses are. So, but anyway, I appreciate you being along tonight on a beautiful night. There are a lot of things you could be doing right now. In fact, when I get done, I'm going to finish mowing the yard, then I'm going to have a cigar. As Pink Floyd said, have a cigar. I'll tell you who's coming up on the radio show here shortly. But I want to follow up on something I was talking about this morning. Ascoda, Lori says his motor stopped working. The waves were coming over the boat, but you should always be aware of how fast things can change. Oh, I did, Martin. I did. Let me make a note right now. Yes, I did get her email. I did not respond because I was swamped. Let me make a note to myself right now. Thank you, Martin, for that. I will respond to her. That was very rude of me not to. I just got swamped there. It happens, right? It happens. That's why I appreciate you following up. Oh, I don't need that. Boom. Don't need that. Let me get rid of all my other windows here. There we go. I'm back with you. Oh, nice. Mike is smoking his cigar right now. Joe is sitting on the patio with his wife right now. It's 3-year anniversary, 16 years together, and the beer is cold. Excellent. Congrats. Brian said, good evening, Mike. Can you please park a little farther away from the dock tomorrow so I can mow through there? Good luck on the fishing. Yes, Brian, I will do that. I will do that. Thanks, Brian, for that. I will try not to get in your way. Let's talk about kids and guns. All right. Scott's still not ready to be done with this. The rod tip is now off to the side when bringing them into the boat. Loaded rods straight into dangerous. That's what I was saying, Scott. Exactly. Beginning anglers tend to put the rod right at the fish. So when it comes out, it's going to come right at him. So now Scott is saying he puts his rod tips off to the side, which is what I was recommending. But here's the problem I run into. And Scott, what you're saying is completely valid. A lot of times I fish with several people in the boat who are novices, and they all want to be a part of the action. Delayed sound. Only on your end, Emil. They really want to be a part of the action. And so sometimes it's kind of a circus at the back of the boat, but you are exactly right, Scott. Okay. If you listen to, and I'm not going to talk about any specific political party, but I will talk about mainstream media and in large part social media. If you pay attention at all, it appears that guns are a huge problem in this country. And it appears that kids with guns would be a terrible combination, like the perfect storm. I saw something this last weekend that makes me realize that is all absolute BS. Now, I knew it before, but what I saw last weekend really struck home with me. My grandson, Carter, who's on here right now, picked up a shotgun for the first time about 2 months ago in preparation for shooting on the local high school trap team. Throughout the season, he progressed very well. Got to be a pretty darn good shooter. Really proud of him. Really proud of you, Carter. I like the way you've taken this seriously. And if you continue to take it seriously, there will be rewards. So we went down to the state trap tournament in Mason, south of Lansing. And by the way, it's one of the best trap fields or ranges in the country. Excellent, Matt. Congrats on that. So, Matt, I want to hear what your thoughts are on what I'm going to say here. At this event, amen, Kendall, guns aren't the problem. Evil in people's heart is the problem. The gun is nothing other than a tool, but I know you know that. Yep. Well, we both do, Kendall. At this trap shoot, there were 1,100 young shooters, 1,100 high school students, every one of them walking around with a gun in their hand. During the event on Saturday, they shot more than 100,000 rounds. 1,100 kids shot 101,000 rounds. Is my math right? I don't know. I'm not a math guy. At this event, they were all handling those guns carefully. They were all observing basic firearm safety principles. Nobody got shot. Nobody got attacked. There was no mass shooting. There was not one evil act of any kind committed at this entire event, even though there were more than 1,000 guns there and more than 1,000 kids. I didn't say that, Scott. like Derek says, if guns were the problem, you would have seen it at this event because there were 1,100 kids, 1,100 guns, and more than 100,000 shots fired. Matt says it's safer than any sport. You get hurt, you're more likely to get hurt playing football. That's for darn sure. So, this to me seems to be so basic and so common sense that I can't even believe that we have to have this conversation. Again, it's not the gun. Guns are tools. This gun is not going to jump up if I put it there on my desk. It's going to sit there for days, weeks, months, years until I pick it up. And when I pick it up, I can choose to do good with it or I can choose to do evil with it. I choose to do good. Hopefully, I choose to do, I can get through life and do nothing at all with it. Mike brings up a good point. There were 1,100 kids there, and I bet you there were 3,000 supporting coaches, parents, and grandparents. So this is anyway, I'm getting myself all riled up because I've thought this is the perfect example of guns are not the problem. People are the problem. And I'm actually so excited about this program, and I'm so excited about putting these guns in kids' hands in a positive form and promoting shooting and getting high school kids involved, that I'm going to step up my sponsorship of our local team next year. Oh, I know it, Joe. I know it. So we're going to see if we can't do a little more for the local high school team next year. Guns are tools. And I'd rather have one than not have one. Well, I'd rather have several more than one. What is the perfect number of guns to own? One more than you have right now. Anyway, and that just drives me crazy because to me, it's common sense. But there's a lack of common sense in the world today. Can I tell you who's coming up on the Outdoor Magazine radio show this weekend? No, I said, Lori, the perfect number of guns is just one more than you have. So if you have 20 and then you get one more, 21, oh, well, then you need one more. Better to have it, not need it, than to need it, not have it. That's my motto. Coming up on the Outdoor Magazine radio show this weekend, you do that, Tim, and tell her if she needs to, they could, but Craig, what I would suggest is the listeners support their local high school trap team. I think that's a better idea. I appreciate you bringing that up. But yeah, if you think this is a great idea, and I do, support your local team. But Mark, this is what I do. Mark, I do not and never will apologize for being passionate. That's who I am. That's how I've survived more than 4 decades in the outdoor media. Look around our state. See how many people have been in the outdoor media longer than me. And I don't mean to be blowing my own horn here, but I guess in some ways I am. I think, and you never should have more than 4 decades. What does that mean? And you never should have more than 4. And you never should have more than 4 decades. I'm not sure how to take that, Mark. And you never should have more than 4 decades. What if I go for 5? All right, I see what you're saying, Mark. Appreciate it. MIClaytarget.com. Thank you, Matt. MIClaytarget.com. I'm getting to that, but I got off track. MIClaytarget.com. My first guest on the syndicated outdoor magazine radio show this week, heard on 33 stations across the great state of Michigan, the podcast available anywhere in the world, Josh Krales, who is the director of the U.S. High School Clay Target Association. The website, miclaytarget.com, miclaytarget.com. And he talks about this. I appreciate it, Mark. I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page here. And if we're not, that's okay too, but I just wanted to know where you were coming from. Then Tom Campbell of Woods and Water News. In hour number 2, Captain Dave Kimar of Kimar's Charters, kimarscharters.com. He was the first charter captain to run trips out to Stannard Rock in the middle of Lake Superior for lake trout. And he's still doing it. So we talk about that. I call it the ultimate freshwater fishing adventure. I appreciate it, Mark. Then Casey writes of the DNR. You know, the last couple of weeks on the show, we've been talking about how it is never okay to pick up a baby wild animal. Never. And one of the points I was making is you're not a licensed wildlife rehabilitator. So first and foremost, it's illegal for you to do so. Well, Casey writes from the DNR joins me to talk a little bit about how you can become a licensed wildlife rehabilitator. And even she says, don't pick up baby fawns. This week's Ask Avery segment talks about the alewife die-off on Lake Michigan. Remember this story? For you youngsters here, I'll give you a quick recap. Back in the 60s, early 60s, there were so many alewives, which is a bait fish in Lake Michigan, that they would die off and wash up on the shoreline, and they'd stink and have to be taken out in bulldozers and backhoes and all kinds of stuff. So the DNR said, we can address this problem. We will plant salmon in Lake Michigan. They did, and for years, the Kings survived on those fish, to the point where they were worried about bait fish populations plummeting, and they actually, I don't think so, Rick, and that they actually cut back on their plants, their salmon plants. Now, the population, the alewife population, has rebounded to a point that we're actually getting some die-offs again, and they're washing up on the shoreline from Muskegon North up to Beaver Island. Just a little observation. In hour number 3, I'm talking with Nick DeShano of Offshore Tackle. It was Nick's dad, Bruce, who started Offshore Tackle. They call him the chairman of the boards. Offshore, your leader in trolling technology, often imitated, never duplicated. Nick and I shoot the breeze about trolling, about his company, about how they developed some of these products. I think I'm going to, I'm rethinking my method of running their OR12 planer boards with a tattle flag. I have been running the snap weight on the front with the standard red release on the back. But I've been running so many lines lately. I mean, it's not uncommon for me now to have 5 to 7 lines on a side. And I think I did not, Chris. And I think it would be easier for me to clear those rods if I actually if I keep the standard orange clip on the front and just pop it off. When I get a fish, just pop it off. And so the board will swing back and I can let it drop out of my spread. That's something I want to play around with. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Johnny Bowler, the Bear Whisperer. Johnny, am I going to see you Friday? I've got a present for you. I got a little something for you, Johnny. As long as when I get back up there this fall, you got a little something for me. A nice bear. And it doesn't have to be a big bear, Johnny. Have I had a chance to poke some holes with my new rifle? Jeff, I have not. Any spare time I have right now is spent fishing, because this is the prime time for walleye on Saginaw Bay. And the season is actually fairly short. It's about a 6-week, to the walls season. Who's this? Mark, I'm new to your show and I'm enjoying it very much. Mark, that means a lot to me. Thank you for saying that. I hope you can join us on a regular basis. I'm here every Wednesday night at 7 for Wednesday Night Live. I also do a quick live show every Wednesday morning at 8:45 from the Outdoor Magazine radio studio. So, no, to answer your question, the yellow on the front clip has been great for you. Does that pop off easier than the orange one, Scott? But I, if it's just me fishing or me and somebody else and we're running 6 rods, 3 on each side, Chris, the pleasure is mine. If it's just 3 rods on a side, I like the snapper releases. Oh, okay. Well, that's about as American as you can be, Johnny, watching the Little League ball game. Good for you. But anyway, I think I'm going to experiment with that. I won't experiment with it when I've got a charity charter and a whole bunch of people on the boat, but I will experiment with it when it's just me and a couple of buddies on the water. But yeah, it has some merit. And we'll wrap up this week's show with wild game chef extraordinaire Dave Miner. This time he has, I think it's a Mediterranean walleye, if I remember right. OR39 is the name, Ryan says. I can tell you the OR12 is the board. And you've got the mini boards. You got the SST Pro Mag boards. I did do something the other day too and Tony, if you're still on here, this is interesting. I was running a spread of number 7 flicker shads on one side of the boat and number 7 flicker minnows on the other side of the boat. Well, that's just it. You got to get it behind the pin. I'll get back to that in a second, Quentin. And I had room for a couple of extra rods. So what I did was I took a spoon behind a 30 jet diver and I ran them off the down rods off the back corners of the boat, not even on a board, just down rods. And I had a fish come up and hit, and it was a nice fish. He's about a 22-inch fish. He came up and just slammed that thing. And I looked back there and the rod's going, whoop, 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 whoop. Like, I don't know, Mike. That's one of the things I want to experiment with. Mark Romanak recommends you do put the twist in it before you put it in there. But that's one of the things I want to experiment with. Going back to Quentin's thing. Why was there so much controversy over the Rampolla buck? Because Mitch didn't get it x-rayed. That's what it comes down to. Now, I have been a diehard Rampolla supporter because I've met him, I've talked with him, I've been to his house. He's a pretty impressive guy. Ryan says 7 twists. Not just 6, Ryan, but 7. Scott says number 5 flicker minnows were hot Sunday. Scott, I hear you were down by the BW. Actually, Ed, no, I've run spoons with jets before, but there was a day that Lance wasn't, he was struggling and I was doing okay in my skinny water there. And he came down to where I was and actually got some nice fish. And yeah, he was running a setup like that, but that was out in 14 feet of water. Makes it a lot easier to snap it off the clip. I was running it up in 8 feet of water. And I'm telling you, it hammered the snot out of it. 7, make sure the loop is really small so it can't catch anything on the board. Nice. Sounds good, Johnny. All right, going back to Rampolla. I have to publicly admit I am starting to question. If you listen to the Deer Hunter podcast series about the Rampolla buck, and I was featured on one of those, by the way. He gets to one of the podcasts and he talks to a taxidermist. And once the taxidermist describes what to look for, you look at all of the pictures of Rampolla bucks in a different light. And for me, some serious skepticism. Dave says last year, when he was trolling with braid, he twisted the line before clipping it to the board. It just pulls out otherwise. Coming down for the Polish at St. Stan's, Johnny? Is that this weekend? I didn't know you were Polish, Johnny. I thought you were coming down for a concert. Huh. So yeah. Anyway, I'm going to experiment with it. Probably the red clip, not the orange clip, because no, probably the orange clip. Yeah, that comes with it. I've got a bunch of those that I took off when I put my snapper releases on. Huh. Oh, that was last weekend. You're a busy guy, Johnny. Did you come down for it? So July 5th, we should find out if we got our Michigan bear and elk tags. Oh, we have one more. Scott Hand, are you interested in this, Scott Hand? We have one more opening for our bow hunt in Ohio with Bill Piles of Ohio Bow Hunting Out. You did, Johnny Bowler, and you didn't let me know you were in town? You dirty dog. You might as well just move down here, Johnny. Now there's too many people for you. You're going to get so used to coming south, you're going to start to think that this is where you belong. Scott Hand, we have an opening. I'm talking to you, Scott. I'm talking to you, Scott, but anybody. Did you now? Okay. Scott Hand said he might be interested. That one doesn't bother me so much, Craig. Anyway, it's with Bill Piles of Ohio Bow Hunting Outfitters. I'm going to give the dates right now. It is October. The hunt is October 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. We arrive on the 16th of October. Everything is included except the license, meaning food and lodging, stands. I've hunted with Bill many, many years. Good guy, family operation. I think you'd fit in very well there, Scott. Love to talk with you more about that. And then you could also meet the world famous Johnny Bowler. Bill Pyle says the chance to meet Johnny Bowler is worth the price alone. Jason, good evening. Jason was going to go with us, and he got occupied elsewhere. I get it, Jason. I completely understand. I know it. October, that's like 3 blinks away. Quentin is an Ohio guy. He said that's a great date. Prime scrape week. Nice to know, Quentin. We actually went down there a week earlier last year, Quentin, and oh, nice, Jason. And we were a little bit too early. So, and we hit some unusually warm weather. I mean, unseasonably hot weather. I think St. Stan's this weekend. I think that's why Johnny's coming down. Oh, St. Stan's. For those of you who don't live on the east side of the state, St. Stan's is like an institution on the east side of the state. It's a beer drinking, kielbasa eating, polka dancing celebration of Polishness. And even if you're not Polish, you will be for the time you're at the St. Stan's Festival. I've been on this side of the state. Oh my gosh, 40 years now. You're in for St. Stan's, or are you in for Ohio? True. Lori says she was wearing flip-flops going to the stand. Jeff, you're in for Ohio or you're in for St. Stan's? Oh, I get it. Scott Keatsman of Linwood Taxidermy, linwoodtaxidermy.com, drew a Colorado elk tag, so he'll be busy when we're in Ohio. Rubbing it in, aren't you, Scott? Well, I'm going to be in Ontario mid-August for a bear hunt with Ron St. Louis of Northern Wilderness Bear Outfitters. I am extremely confident I will be bear hunting September 25th with Johnny Bowler, the Bear Whisperer, in the Newberry area. And then I'll be going to Ohio to hunt with Bill Piles on a whitetail hunt. And I will tell you, I mean, I love Bill, but I am far more excited about bear hunting than I am whitetail hunting. True. Everybody's Irish for St. Patty's Day and everybody's Polish for St. Stan's. Good point. Jason just got done with hunter safety classes with the kids. Jason Karstens of True North Guide Service. Check him out online. I've said this before. Well, did I say it? No, I didn't do it on last week's Wednesday Night Live. Jason is a fishing guide and charter captain in the Sioux. He pulled his angler quest all the way from the Sioux to Linwood Beach on Saginaw Bay to volunteer his time to be a boat captain for the Walleye for Warriors event. That's the kind of guy you want to hang around with right there. Good question. Dave says, does anybody out there have a hunting from a Tim Binns? Tim, maybe you can help out here. Does anyone have a hunting from a standing vehicle permit? If so, how long did it take to find out? He sent me his in March. Haven't heard anything. Tim, any thoughts on that? Do you have a permit like that? And what was the process of getting it? That might actually be a very good question for the Ask Avery segment. Let me do a screenshot of that right there. Where'd it go? There it is. Let me do a capture on that, Dave. Scott, now you're just rubbing it in. Thank you, Quentin. Well, we know that, Brian. We know that. I just did a screenshot on that, Dave. And hopefully, I actually think it's a great question for the Ask Avery segment, if you don't mind me using it. Tim's had his for a long time, so he's of no help. Dennis says it only took him a short time, maybe 2 weeks. All right, Dave, this has really got my attention. Jason, we look forward to seeing you, buddy. Dave, this really has my attention. Do I have your permission to do an Ask Avery segment on the radio show with that question? Because I think it's an excellent and interesting question. New Jersey bow hunting. That's interesting. Although I think New Jersey is one of those states that I tend to really. Hey, Mike, that post about saving fawns with Crumple's ears because they're dehydrating is spreading like wildfire. And Fred, you know that I know that you know this, but it's absolute total crap, right? There is no scientific or biological basis at all, but it makes people feel really good. It makes people feel really good that if they pick up a fawn with a crumpled ear, it's because it's dehydrated and they're saving that animal. It's the same mindset that makes people feel better protected when there's no guns around. John says, just leave them alone. Dave says, please do. I've called and left voicemails and never got a call back from the guy. Steve, all right, I will add that to next week's Ask Avery segment. Excellent. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Bill Piles. I was just talking about him, the man, the myth, the legend. Bill Piles of Ohio Bowhunting Outfitters, OhioBowhuntingOutfitters.com. Bill, I think we got a live one. We may be able to fill that last slot, hunting with you, the third week in October. Well, I told him he might have to pay a little bit more for coming in at the last minute, but he's got some money. I think he might do it. Actually, he would be a wonderful. Johnny says, Billy. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate that. Bill Piles' website, OhioBowhuntingOutfitters.com, OhioBowhuntingOutfitters.com. We will be down there the third week in October. As of right now, we have one more opening. If you would like to get involved, get in touch with me or get in touch directly with Bill. Tell him you want to be a part of the Avery crew. Although I don't know if I want to claim credit, Bill, for that crew or not. I don't know, Bill. Do you want to claim the crew? Do you want to admit that you know those guys? I don't know. Look what time it is. Bill, you joined us just in time to say goodnight. Interesting, Joe. Dave, the Ask Avery segment. Scott, I will. So you're going to be gone September. So you've got an opening in October. So you're gone in September, you're gone in November, and you have an opening in October. Dave, the Ask Avery segment is always the last segment in the second hour of the show. Last segment, second hour of the show. All right, my friends. Let me get this thing going because you know I love this. We start out with this. And we have to end each week with this too. It's not my theme music, but it is my Wednesday Night Live music. All right, my friends, my website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. My email address, Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. I will be fishing tomorrow. I'll let you know how I do. If you're going to be out, good luck to you as well. Thanks for joining me on this edition of Wednesday Night Live.